Hi everyone, this is Coffee Brown is Expat Bound to France. And today I am here to talk with you about Spain. Now, before I can continue, I would like to ask that you please like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell and so that every time I upload a video, you will get a notification that I have something new and you can go watch it. Please share this with your friends as well. So, if Coffee Brown is expat bound to France, why is Coffee Brown talking about Spain? So, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Here's what I have been thinking about. What am I going to do if I can't go to France? And I know that it's a scary time for some people, especially if you live in the United States. You may want to leave. And so I have been looking at alternatives because if my whole application doesn't go through for France, I need to be able to go someplace else. And I mentioned in my last video that I have three places that I'm thinking of going if France does not come through. One is Greece, two is the Netherlands, but three is Spain. And I mentioned very quickly in that video that you can go to Spain very quickly if you're just like, I want to leave now. And so I wanted to take this video just to kind of talk about Spain for a moment. Because if you're someone that's like, I can't, maybe you did have your visa denied for some reason or another, and you can't go to France or wherever else you wanted to go. And you are a digital nomad. Now, I'm going to be talking about digital nomads today. There's a way for you to be able to quickly move to Spain. Now, granted, there are going to be things that you need to do and things you need to be able to qualify for. And that's what I'm going to go through because I just kind of mentioned it very blasé and quickly in my last video. But if people are curious, let's explore this. So I started off here by just showing like a lot of the different scenes that you're going to see in Spain. Beautiful country. I've been there before. And I thought it was a nice place to go and visit. Weather is great. People are great. It's Spanish, and a lot of us here in the United States may know a little bit of Spanish. We went to high school. You have to learn a language, and I think most people probably went with Spanish. So that's one thing. Hey, look at this. Look at this price of this ticket. $445 round trip to go to Spain. That's pretty good. And actually, when I went to Spain, I went on a deal. I took a direct flight from where I live on the East Coast and flew directly to Madrid for $450 round trip. And had a really nice flight sitting next to a gentleman that was going to go to school, medical school, where I actually was going to school at the time. And so it was a nice trip. But let's keep going. Let's go through a little bit about Spain just to talk about. Always a lot of things to do in Spain. But look at how this is. First of all, see how it's situated right over here. And the nicest part, the warm part, the Mediterranean's here. We've got the Atlantic here. And on the other side of the ocean, of course, is the United States, right? If you want to jump into Portugal, very easy to get to. France, you can get into. If you just want to go into, let's just see like what you can do from Spain. You can pretty much go anywhere here to the United States very quick. Cuba, Puerto Rico. Look, you can go into any part of South America. If you want to go into Africa, you can hop right into Africa and travel around to Africa. Very easy, as you can see, to go into Morocco. Um, very easy to go into the rest of Europe as well. And so Spain has a lot of accessibility, and that's something to think about. So as you can see, it has a diverse geography and culture. It's the capital city is home to the Royal Palace and Prado museums. There's a lot of museums. There's a lot of art there. There's a lot of history there. As you can see, the capital of Spain is Madrid. There's 48 and almost 49 million people. A lot of people um, in that capital. So if you like that big city living, this is about as big as it's going to get. Um, Although that would be kind of weird that it's 48 million people in Madrid. So hold on a second. How many people live in Madrid? I'm just going to do a quick check on that just to kind of get the facts straight for you. Okay, so the the population of Spain is 48.81 million, but within the city, if you count the city itself, it's about 3.5 million. If you count the metropolitan area, it's 6.8 million. And if you're talking about the whole autonomous region of Madrid itself, it's 7.13 million. So it's a lot of people. Now, I'm not going to talk about, and I can actually do this in another video, but if you come from a Latin American country, Spain becomes even easier for you to get to. But I'm just going to focus on digital nomad for now. How can you, as a digital nomad, move to Spain and immediately start your life there? So they have a digital nomad visa. And so the digital nomad visa was formerly called the telework visa, and it's one of the most popular ways that you can actually move to Spain easily. Now, before I do that, um, let's just go here and talk about like the pros and cons and the visa, right? Beautiful beaches along the Mediterranean Sea. You have the cost of living in Spain, which is cheaper than a lot of Europe, as well as cheaper in the United States. I've seen like one bedrooms, just small one bedrooms going for about 400 to 500 euros a month. And so it's really what it says in here, where it says where you live in Spain is going to determine your living costs. So you have to be really careful. There's a website called Numbeo, and I'm going to just go here. I think it's www.numbeo.com. Yes. And so I'll put it into my description below as well. But this is where you can say, hey, you know what? Like, I want to know what the cost of living is like in Spain, or you can pick a particular city. And so I can even go in and I can drill down a little bit deeper and say I'd like to go to like Madrid. And so I'm just going to skip through that. It's going to tell me what my cost of living it is. For a family of four, it's 2,960 euro, or in US dollars, 34.71 and 60 cents excluding rent. Okay. So 39.8% less expensive than New York, and rent in Madrid is 64.8% lower than in New York. Now, they run down like what it's going to cost for you to get all of these things in in Madrid specifically, but you can also look at per country, or you can look at different cities, because maybe if this is too expensive for you, you can pick like a different city. Like I'm trying to think of one offhand. I don't know very many cities in there. I went to let's put Granada, Spain. So oops, Granada, Spain, for example. And I'll go in here and look how the cost of living for a family of four, it's going down. And so the rent in Granada is 61 or 81.6% lower than New York, and 50.8% less expensive than New York. And And so you're going to be able to get a lot more information as you drill down into these different cities. And so you can say to yourself, you know what? Let me just look and see what kinds of cities are in Spain and what is the cost of living. And do you want to live in the countryside and get a car, or do you want to live in the city and like use public transportation? These things are all going to affect your cost of living. So I'm going to say that you should definitely take a look at that. But let's go back to living in Spain. Sorry about that. So so definitely cheaper. You can live cheaply in Spain and just be smart about how you do it. A lot of festivals and celebrations. You can live in Spain and just enjoy the festivals and everything that they do there without having to go out and splurge and travel around the world and do all these different things. You can stay in Spain and do all your traveling in Spain. You can go into Spain into the mountains, and you can do your skiing, and you can go into the Mediterranean and vacation and feel like you're on set in San Tropez. I mean, like really, Spain can be cheap. Any place in the world can be cheap if you want to, but like having that option to live that slower paced life sounds nice. There is going to be definitely a language that you're going to need to deal with. Learn a little bit of English. I went there. I didn't know a lot of English, or sorry, a lot of Spanish, but I just went ahead and I went there anyway, enjoyed myself, and just tried to deal with the little bit that I needed to learn. I talked with people a little tiny bit, brought a little translation dictionary, and it was good for me. If I lived there, I would actually learn it. Look how it's got. Spain has bright and sunny weather. Um, Temperatures regularly hitting over 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer, freezing temperatures in the winter, but you could definitely be cool or be warmer if you stayed in the southern part of Spain as well. Let's go down here. They have national health care services that's funded through taxes. So if you are coming from a place like the United States where healthcare costs are really high and you're moving to Spain, you will be contributing to that healthcare system, and you'll probably have some kind of insurance of your own, and you'll save a lot of money. But again, don't come here thinking that you'll be just living off of the Spanish healthcare system. You will be contributing in order to do that. They have a well-developed public transportation system. I will tell you that that is true. In fact, the first time I saw, besides buses, trains, and metros, which I've taken, I also saw bikes that you can rent. This was back in maybe 2005, maybe 2006. I went to Spain, and they had bike rentals where you could rent by the hour, and I thought that was really impressive. I'd never seen that before. But let's just go down here and talk about getting your visa. So we're going to go, let me roll down here, and let's go back a little bit, and let me come up here and just go into, okay, I'm looking for it. Yeah, hold on one second. So let's start here, and I will put this in the chat for you. But I want to talk about the digital nomad visa in Spain. And so I kind of bumped into this because I said, hey, if you want to go to Spain right now, you can get a up to a 3-year visa by just going to Spain and just requesting one. Now, there are some things that you do need to keep in mind. So, as I said before, Spain's digital nomad visa was called the telework visa. This is the most popular way for U.S. citizens to relocate to Europe. And I'm just going to specifically talk about the United States because that's where I'm from. You check with your own country to see what it is, but I'm pretty sure that it's going to be the same for all the countries If you're a digital nomad, I believe this is going to apply to anyone. And so there is a bit of way or a bit that you need to do in order to be able to do this. So there are two ways that you can go into Spain. You can say, "Hey, I would like to go in, or I would like to apply from the United States," and you would go to the consulate. You go to the Spanish consulate, and in your state. So if you live in Miami, you would go to the Spanish consulate in Miami. If you live in Houston, you would go to one in Houston, etc. And you would apply there, and you would get a 1-year visa. Or you can just enter Spain as a tourist, and U.S. citizens get 90 days for a visa, and you get a visa or visa-free 90-day entry into Spain. And then you would apply directly to what's called the UGE-CE, which is the Large Business and Strategic Groups Unit. And they're going to give you a 3-year permit immediately. And it's often considered faster and it's more digital. And um, so look how they have connectivity. So they have the most extensive fiber network in Europe. They do a lot of the whole like braggy stuff about it. But look, who's this visa for? There are two very specific professions. There's if you are an employee working with a foreign company and you get a monthly salary and you can work from Spain. Look, it says here the company cannot be Spanish. So you cannot come here and go because you work from United States and you work for a Spanish company in Spain and now you want to or sorry in the United States and now you want to work for that Spanish company that's in Spain and you want to move to Spain and work, like it's not going to work that way. So you can be like, I work for a US company, I work for a Greek company, I work for an African country, I work for I work for a Japanese company. I work for a Canadian company. Yes, under those circumstances. And you're going to have to show that you're allowed to actually work in Spain. And then you can be a self employed freelancer. And it says you have a commercial relationship with several clients. In this case, the law allows interesting flexibility. You can have Spanish clients provided that the revenues do not exceed 20% of your total billing. So they prefer that you bring outside money in than to have inside money that's already in the country. That's economic impact, and it's very smart because if you're taking money from the Spanish to then like be in Spain, how does Spain make money off of you? They don't. So they make more money off of you if you can bring in foreign money and you bring it into Spain because you now live there. They love you for that. So here are the requirements for your checklist. So you need to be qualified, and this large company's unit is going to require that you have either the academic route, which is the fast one. You present a graduate or postgraduate degree from a university, okay, and it's got to be like or a renowned business school or a higher vocational training. So you're going to have to do that. Or you can do the experience route, which is the alternative. If you don't have a university degree, you can just work for a minimum of 3 years in your field. Okay, and you can't just present your CV. You're going to have official employment records, old contracts, and recommendation letters from your bosses detailing what you did and times. This seems like a lot. I have been working now for 5 years as an independent contractor. Well, I'm able to go to my boss. So some of these places no longer exist. So as of 3 years ago, and then there are times when I was working less because I was going to school, times when I was working more, especially once I graduated from school. So for me, I would probably just go with the academic route. So look, the economic requirements, you have to meet that too. 200% of the SMI, which is the minimum interprofessional wage. So basically their minimum wage. So this is what you're going to have to do to demonstrate your economic solvency. So for the main applicant, that means you're going to have to show that you are making at least 2,700 to 2,800 euro monthly, which is about 32 to 33,600 annually. Okay, so that is the minimum salary. So if you can show, and again, this is, so somewhere around, I would say around 3,000 euro per month US to about, I don't know, 36,000 US annually. Okay, and then it says, look, for your partner, you must add an additional 75%. So an additional, if you come with your spouse or your partner, and you can show that you have 2,800, you're gonna have to show an additional minimum of $1,050 extra per month that you as a couple will make. So instead of having to make 2,800 euro monthly, for example, you'd have to make 3,850 per month in order for you and your partner to be able to come together. And then if you have children, you have to have an additional 25% of the SMI per child per month. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind. Okay. And so keep that in mind. The company is going to require an authorization letter and seniority. So you've got to make sure that you meet the seniority requirements, the company seniority requirements, the authorization letter, which is a key document where your company signs a letter translated into Spanish, which means it will be apostilled. And apostilled means that you will have to go to a professional licensed, like, in translator. Those are places where you have to go to, say, the State Department, and you will have to find one there and pay the money. Okay, so you also have to show that you have private health insurance with complete coverage, so no copays and no wait periods. And it has to be the equivalent of the national healthcare system. You cannot use travel insurance. You will be denied if you don't have the correct insurance. You need to have a clean certificate for the countries where you live for the last 5 years. So basically, you're going to have an FBI report, and it cannot be done more than 6 months before you arrive in the country. So you're going to have to do an FBI report, and that's going to take some time because an FBI report, when you go there, you're going to have to go to the place where they have FBI reports that are available, maybe the police station. You're going to have to pay a fee, and then it takes weeks for them to pull that together. So you have to do that before you leave for Spain if you plan on just going to Spain to do this. And you cannot have been a tax resident of Spain in the last 5 years. Now, how do you get this? As long as you have all these papers ready to go, which you need to get these ready to go before you do this. And so some places well in advance. Look here. Option A, apply in the consulate of your country of origin, and you get a 1-year visa. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get a visa valid for a year. And before the year ends, you have to start a new procedure in Spain to get the residence card. And so double work and double bureaucracy. Yes. So you're going to have to do that. Okay. Or you can apply directly from Spain. The one that I talked about. You just get a tour. You don't even have to get a visa. You're just going to go to Spain as a tourist on a tourist visa, which means that there is no visa. And then as soon as you arrive, you're going to have to submit the application in Madrid. And you will get a 3-year route that way. And so look, directly a 3-year authorization. It has to be issued within 20 business days of the time that you arrive. If they don't if they don't respond within 20 days, you're going to be automatically granted this 3-year authorization. Now, they said it's rare, but it can happen. But you're going to get some kind of response from them. Now, look, if you do this, you get a direct 3-year residence authorization. You don't have to worry about consulates. Your family also obtains the 3 years directly. Wow! And the entire process is digital. So you have to bring all of this information with you in order to come here or go there. Plus, you have to pay the fee. And so look, it says, here's the best news. By law, the administration has a maximum of 20 business days to resolve your file. To resolve it. If they don't respond in that period, sometimes very possible, that application is considered approved. Okay, so so you're paying fewer taxes in Spain thanks to what's called the Beckham Law. And the Beckham Law says that you are going to be paying a flat rate of 24% of your income for work up to 600,000 annually. And you don't pay taxes on your worldwide income. Um, on look here on dividends, interest, rents, or capital gains obtained outside of Spain. You're only paying taxes for what you generate in Spanish territory. No wealth tax. No double taxation in the United States. That's great. So now you've got the visa, and now you can just kind of get here, and be cool. Now you've got a few things you need to do administratively. You have to register with your city's town. Always mandatory. You have to go to the police and get fingerprinting, and then you have to get what's called a digital certificate. And the digital certificate is something you're going to need because in order for you to go to these government websites, it is mandatory that you have a digital certificate. It is basically what's considered like online DNA. It is not your personal DNA. It's just a way of them saying it's online DNA. It's not DNA. It is a little file that's issued by these people, this tax agency here, and they're going to issue this little file, downloadable file to you, and they're going to email it to you. You download it onto the browser that you're going to use, like Chrome or Safari or whatever, or you download it onto your phone, and then whenever you go to a government website, there's going to be a pop-up that's going to appear that's going to ask you to select the certificate. So you have to make sure that you disable pop-ups for this particular digital certificate and for the government websites. And then once you click that pop-up box, then you are logged in with the same legal authority as if you have shown your physical passport in person. So this is a way for you to be able to be safer online and safer when you're interacting with these Spanish websites. And so that, all these other things. I went to Malaga. I know I'm not saying this correctly, but I went there, and I went to another place as well. I can't remember offhand. Andalusia, and yeah, I went someplace in Andalusia. I went to Malaga, and I went someplace else. And then I also went to Barcelona and Madrid when I was there. So all nice places. So I'm just giving you all this. I'll put this website in here. I'm not at all like promoting this guy because you can find this information anywhere, but he just has like a pretty straightforward, this is how it's done. I would recommend that you try to do things yourself and not have hand holders, because I think hand holders can sometimes hinder rather than help. And I've had people, when I've said I've had issues, who are considered handholders, then get into my Facebook posts and start to chastise me and say I should have had them as a help to help. I would have had these issues if I had just went to them. And you know what? Sometimes I would like to do things on my own and make the mistakes, because when I make those mistakes, I tend not to repeat them. So I would prefer to do that. There are some people that want the hand holders. So I would look into different hand holders first if you decide that you want to do it. And I'll list this one, but I'll also list some other ones as well. So let's just get back here. And let's just come back here to Spain. I'm just going to just end by saying that if you are looking to move to Spain and you just want to be able to like have this peace of mind, I would definitely consider just looking into Spain. If you're like, hey, I just want to get out now. I can't wait anymore. This is driving me crazy. I'm like, I can't live here anymore. I really want something different. I want to try something different. I'm going to recommend that you look into Spain. Um, and you could still definitely look into other countries. And there are other ones that are just as easy to, it seems, to get into. But Spain, I think, is a pretty direct and fast pathway of getting into Europe very quickly and getting settled. So, that's pretty much all I have for today. I will be back. I am not recording on camera today because I can't seem to get my camera working. So I decided to just go ahead and just like go with this faceless video. But I am a face, and my face's name is Coffee Brown, and this channel is Coffee Brown. It's Expat Bound to France. And so please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so that every time I upload a video, you will get that notification. And just tell me, like, what do you think? Do you think that Spain could be a country that you could go to? Do you think that it could be a country that you can consider? If you are in Spain and you did this work for you? How easy was it for you? I am curious to see if other people have already tried this, and is it working? Did it work? Was it successful? These are things that inquiring minds would like to know. Okay, so a little bit longer. I said I wanted to keep my videos shorter, but there was a bit I wanted to show about Spain so that people could start to do the research. Always, 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 always do the research for yourself first and find out what works for you first. I'll put these links of places I went to in my description below so that you can get more information. This is Coffee Brown. I'm signing off. Today is, as you can see, January 3rd, 2026. Everyone have a blessed day.